This is the Nomadic Traveler Podcast. Welcome to Nomadic Traveler Podcast. I am your host, Jason, and our lovely and wonderful co-host is here as always, Miss Nicole Potter.
Hey guys, what's happening?
You know, sometimes I say your last name and sometimes I don't. I don't know why.
I don't know. It feels spicy.
Spice it up.
Mr. Laurence.
Mr. Laurence.
Croissant.
Croissant.
You want a little croissant?
Oui, oui. All right, so what's new?
Not much. Working, learning, meeting new people. Met a new guy named Mike.
Mike Outdoorsy.
Yeah, that's his last name. Yes.
No. Now, today's guest is Mike Morgan, and we had him written down on our show notes as Mike Outdoorsy.
Because that's who he is.
And as you know, I'm like a news guy that's reading a teleprompter. I'll read whatever's written on my sheet. Like, Mike Outdoorsy, that's an unusual name.
That's why he's doing such a good job on Outdoorsy.
J-O-B.
Yeah, so this episode you guys are going to want to hear, especially if you own an RV or you want to try an RV out.
Yeah, so Mike tells us about how he makes money renting out his Tab 320, which is a little teardrop camper made by New Camp. And then he also has a Tag XL that is also made by New Camp that is a little lower grade. So he has two different campers. He rents them out on Outdoorsy, and then he's looking to, over the course of a few years, getting them 100% paid for through Outdoorsy, and then he basically gets a free camper.
Yeah.
So
excellent idea. If I must say so.
I'm thinking maybe we should try that out.
Yeah. I definitely want to try the Tag first.
The Tag?
Yeah.
Or the Tab?
I want to try the Tag, and then I want to try the Tab.
You want to go for the low end first?
Mm-hmm. So
if
then
you go this time of year, it's winter, you know, you might be okay.
Just park it in the...
It doesn't have any air conditioning, so...
Yeah, that's true.
But flip side of that is it doesn't have any heat either.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, I don't think so.
Oops. That's not good.
I don't think it has anything.
No bueno.
I think all it's got is a fan.
Ooh, I do enjoy those.
So, without further ado, we will bring you Mr. Mike Morgan from Outdoorsy. He's not from Outdoorsy, though. He just rents on Outdoorsy. All right, we'd like to welcome Mike Morgan, and he's going to talk to us about what it's like to rent his camper on Outdoorsy. How's it going, Mike?
It's going good. Yeah.
So,
I'm excited to be here.
How long you been doing the rental thing?
We are about a year and a half into owning our Tab teardrop camper, and ever since we got it, we had even just planned on trying to rent it on Outdoorsy.
So that's kind of what you got it for?
Well, yeah, really we got it twofold. One for ourselves to enjoy and use, but we knew we wouldn't be able to use it all that often, so we thought renting it on Outdoorsy would make sense, and it would help us with the expense of owning it.
That's a good idea. I like that.
So had you owned any campers previous to that?
No, we were total newbies. We had never owned a camper. We hadn't even camped that much, but we just love nature, and when we thought, we live in Indianapolis, so to be able to take a trip and kind of get out in the woods and sounded exciting to us. But we were brand new. We didn't have any of the gear or the knowledge.
So you bought the camper and all the gear, like right off the bat, or did you get anybody to help you, or how'd it go?
Yeah, that's a good question. No, we bought the camper used. So a woman owned it. It was a 2016, and we bought it in 2018. And she had bought it new, so she had it for 2 years. And when we bought it, she passed along a lot of gear that she had. But we didn't buy a lot of gear at first. We sort of wanted to see what we might need. We also are part of a Facebook group where other Tab owners talk, and so we were able to see what other people bought, what was useful or what was not useful and not need to get.
Oh, nice.
That's very smart.
Yeah, that works out good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Lots of people to ask questions to.
For sure.
Yes.
So I guess what we should start off with is, what is Outdoorsy? If someone doesn't know what that is, what is that?
Yeah, Outdoorsy, the best way to describe it, I think, is that it's really similar to Airbnb, but with your camper or RV. And so it's a way to rent out someone's camper RV when they're not using it. And it's a great platform that helps protect both the owner and the renters in the process.
Okay. So everybody on there owns their own equipment. Outdoorsy does not own anything.
That's right. Yep. Outdoorsy just facilitates the transaction. It has a great platform for using a calendar to show when it's available and when it's rented, and a messaging platform for talking with potential renters. And then they also have a great insurance program that they do, so that it's covering, again, both the renter and the owner in case of damages or collision or liability.
Okay.
Wonderful. How did you first hear about Outdoorsy? What got you kind of interested in it?
I can't remember the very first time I came across it. I think it was just an online advertisement. I may have already been looking at campers at that point. Mm-hmm. And so, the smart ads kind of tell what you're looking for. And so I may have just saw it pop up. And then I did have a friend of mine, who mentioned it, and I was familiar with it. So we talked a little bit about it. That is kind of a cool new idea of renting out your camper, a platform for that.
That's nice. I like
Very
that.
Cool. How long did it take you to choose what type of camper you wanted, and what made you choose the Tab to rent out?
Well, so my wife and I just really love classic stuff, and the Teardrop camper was just definitely one of those classic things. And for about a year or two, I'd just kind of admired them online, looked at videos and some different manufacturers just to see what kind of features they packed into those tiny shells. And we just like the quaintness of small things. So the big, huge trailer, which has all the amenities, is cool, but it wasn't as appealing to us. And so, over the course of a year or two, we sort of just talked about it, didn't really take it too seriously. But then I began to look on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace to see what kind of used Tab trailers were out there, and until we found this one. And we just love the way they look and all especially this company, New Camp. It's this Amish built cabinetry inside, and just really known for the craftsmanship and the quality of their campers.
Nice. What was the new one we saw the other day, Nicole? Avia?
Avia.
Avia?
Yeah.
Have you seen that yet?
Yeah, not in person. I think it's Avia, but maybe it's Avia. I guess I don't know how to pronounce it.
I'm not sure either.
But yeah, that's their biggest. That's new, I think, starting this year or last year. I haven't seen it in person, but it looks pretty nice.
I was gonna say I don't even know if it's out yet, but I just saw it in a magazine the other day, and I was like, New Camp stepping up. They're trying to make some big stuff now.
Yeah. Yep.
I will say that it seems like they're really high quality. Like you said, craftsmanship. We looked at them this weekend at the RV show, and nothing beats their quality, really, especially for a small camper.
Yeah, and one of the factors in us investing in one was it seems that they also just really hold their value. The people who purchase them and are looking for them, they're still just sought after. And so we knew, let's say we buy this Teardrop and this Tab and we don't use it enough, and what if it doesn't rent out on Outdoorsy like we had hoped maybe? Then we thought, well, we could at least resell it and get most of our money back.
Okay, well, speaking of that, how long do you think it's going to take you through Outdoorsy to pay your camper off?
That's a good question. We weren't sure at first, so we got the camper in July of 2008 and put it up on Outdoorsy near the end of the month and had our first rental in August. And so we didn't have a full season at first to know how much we would pull in, but I think after last year having an entire year, we were able to, in revenue, not counting the expenses of upkeep and things we did, but what came in was a little over $5,000. in 1 year. And so for us, buying it used, I think 3 full years would pay for it. That's kind of the purchase of what we bought it used. We bought it for $13,500 used, which was a great price for us. And but then once you register it and pay taxes on it and buy stuff, I just round up to $15,000. And if we make $5,000 a year, that'd be 3 years would pay for it.
Nice. So do you carry your own insurance in addition to Outdoorsy's insurance, or how does that work?
Yeah, when we got it, we insured it right away. And so I didn't think about it. I didn't even know it was an option. But apparently, I think as a travel trailer, it doesn't need to be insured technically or legally. But we did insure it. And it is still insured on top of what's insured through Outdoorsy. Although once it's rented, the day it starts and the day it's returned, it's covered completely through Outdoorsy's rental agreement. So, at this point, we'll just continue to insure it. But if something were to happen during an Outdoorsy rental, we would work with Outdoorsy and their insurance.
Is there a deductible on that? Do you know?
Oh, that's a good question. I should have looked that up ahead of time. I don't remember. I think there is a small deductible. But there is an aspect of the rental through Outdoorsy. The minimum deposit that they hold for any reservation is $500, and so I think that's there for incidentals or damage just done inside the trailer. But I think, and I'd have to look at this, but that it would be available also to contribute towards any sort of deductible that would need to happen. But I don't know. I can't remember.
So the deductible might be $500, but then that would be covered in what they've already paid. So then essentially it would be nothing out of pocket for you.
Yep.
Theoretically.
Yep. Yeah, on top of the money of the reservation that you would have it on, and say it got in an accident or something, you'd have that as well, I guess. But luckily, we've been fortunate to not have to deal with that yet.
What about like things that are like normal wear and tear? Like what if they just, like pop a tire or something like that? Does it cover that?
Well, okay, so when it comes to the deposit, I'm sure that there's some discretion that's available to us. My philosophy is that I want to go above and beyond. And so we've literally never taken any money out of anyone's deposits for any damage or wear and tear. We've replaced the tires once because of how many miles it had gone. I've repacked the bearings myself, or we had a latch break on one of the windows. I had a key broke, but I had a few spares. And so in all of those situations, we didn't take any money from any of the renters because we assume those things are going to happen, and we also want them to have a great experience and not feel like we nickeled and dimed them in the process.
Is there anything else extra you do? Like I know with some Airbnb people, sometimes they'll leave like shampoo or, little things like that in the Airbnb. Do you do any extras like that for people?
Yeah, we try to, just a couple little things. I mean, we have some bowls and plates, like camping cups. We give some silverware, as well as I have a box of matches in there and a flashlight. I just try to have a couple little things. Nice. We also provide 2 towels and 2 washcloths and all the bedding you need. We wanted people to be able to come and grab the camper and not have to really bring anything of their own.
Gotcha.
In the reality, most people do bring a lot of their own stuff, or they bring their own bedding, or they just use sleeping bags or whatever they want. But we want to make sure we have more than enough of, for anything they might need.
That's awesome. What all does your camper come with for those who might not be familiar? Is there a bathroom? Is there air conditioning? What all is involved in that?
Yeah, it's crazy. The tab is so small, which makes it great to tow, and it's so super cozy, but it's packed with all the essential amenities as well as some extras. And so it's got, when you're plugged into shore power and you have full access to everything, it's got the air conditioning, which is a on the roof air conditioner, which is upgraded. We have a heating system that's called an Aldi is the brand. It's really great. It's a radiant heat. Also a hot water heater. which does supply. There's a small wet bath in there, which is a shower and the toilet. And there's also a small kitchen inside, so a sink with hot and cold water. We've got a refrigerator that can be run off of propane, can be run off the battery while towing, and can also be run out of shore power. There's a solar panel, which is installed on the roof, which does a great job of topping off the battery each day if you're boondocking. There's limitations when it comes to the air conditioning and the fridge, but it can keep the battery topped off for all the other functions. There's a TV on an articulating arm that can come out, and with an HDMI cord that we hooked up. Not everyone has one, but I do. I have an iPhone, so we just provide an iPhone adapter. So if people want to watch Netflix or Hulu off their phone, they can plug it in to the TV. Nice. And there's some upgraded speakers, a small sound system that you can use Bluetooth from your phone, LED lights. It's really packed full of amazing amenities.
So it's really got everything that you want, you know?
Yep. Yeah, we also offer a couple add-on items, and one is a add-a-room tent, which doubles the size of the camper. It actually follows the curve of the teardrop and extends out 6 feet, and it's fully enclosed with a floor, and it attaches to the tab. And so that's an additional thing that people can add on for $10 a night. And the people have done that, have loved it, and said it's just perfect for what they need.
Is it very hard to set up?
It's really easy, actually. There's it's called a keter rail on the edge, and so on one side of the tent there's a rope that's sewn into the fabric, and you just slide that rope into an entrance, and you slide it up over the teardrop shape, and then there's one pole that you put together, and you extend through, and then stick in some eyelets on the ground and
Nice.
Put a few stakes in. It's really pretty easy to set up.
That's awesome.
As far as tents go, that's about as easy as it gets, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
What else do you have?
A couple other things. One is we do have a nice Honda super quiet generator that's available as an add-on for $15 a night. That's for the people who are boondocking and it's going to be hot and they want to be able to use the air conditioning. It will power the entire tab. And if you run it on eco mode, it'll run all night long. Like you don't have to worry about it shutting off.
Nice.
And it just uses like 1.5 gallons of gas in a day. You know, it's really, really an efficient generator. So we highly recommend it to those who are really roughing it and going out, just in case they want the battery to run out or to be stuck without air conditioning in a 90-degree heat wave. So
yeah.
And then other than that, we just I have a couple things. We can empty the waste tanks for people. That's not something we push to do. We don't love doing it, but it's just there for the people who weren't at a campground where they have a dump station or they don't feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
So for $50, I take it to the nearest campground, the KOA, and I pay a fee to them, and then I dump the tanks there, which isn't, very appetizing to dump the waste tanks for someone else, but I'm happy to do it if that's what makes it better for someone else.
So the add-a-room was 10 a day?
Yep.
The generator is how much?
15.
15, okay. And that's a day?
Yeah, it's a day. We lowered it. It was 25 last year, but I actually looked at pricing on that, and a lot of other rentals did theirs for like 40. And they have generators, I think, that are hooked into their bigger Class A's or whatever, and they have some sort of timer on them, and they can tell how many hours it's run and all that. But I wanted to, make it available because I really want people to have a positive experience. And so, especially on a short trip, it's not much to just pay $15 to be able to run everything when you're boondocking.
So when you get it back, how about cleaning fees? How does that work?
Yeah. So there is no cleaning fee. There's not a standard one. So and again, out of all the rentals we've had, everyone's taken great care of it. There's maybe one that came back a little messy, but it's not much to clean. So we just assume the responsibility to clean it when it comes back. But people typically bring it back almost as good as it was when they took it. And the only time we've had a couple exceptions is when we've had a couple people who had a dearly loved small pet, a dog, and we wanted to make sure we could get all the hair out if there's any of that. And even in those situations, they took great care of it and didn't leave much mess at all. But I've agreed on a $50 prearranged cleaning fee, just knowing that when they return it, I want to spend extra time kind of deep cleaning to make sure that there's no pet hair around.
That seems pretty fair too.
Yeah, no one's balked at it. They've all been happy to do that. The two people that when we threw that out, they're like, that's very fair, so we did that.
Okay, so how many times has it gone out now?
Man, it's been really encouraging. In total, I think now we've had 23 rentals in a year and a half.
That's pretty good.
So yeah, it's been great. And it's been really fun to just meet 23 different couples or people, and it's gone in 23 different directions, so and all those have varied, from a 2-night stay to one was 15 days in the Northeast. Another was a father and son who took it out west for 10 days, went to Yellowstone and the Badlands. So a number of trips, and I've had to kind of arrange my schedule to be able to meet people when they want to pick it up and when they're dropping it off. But part of that process of just communicating with people has been part of the fun of just kind of interacting and helping someone as they prepare for a trip while they're on a trip and then when they're coming back.
Yeah.
Very cool. Would you say that it's a lot of like newbies like yourself too RVing because it's so small, or do you have a lot of experienced people renting them who have like bigger campers themselves?
Most people, most all of them were pretty new. We found that it was very common for a number of the renters to be considering buying a tab in the future, and they wanted to try it out.
Yeah.
And some of them have been nervous because they haven't towed very many things, and that's one of the benefits. It's so small. There's not a lot to it. It's a great introduction to towing something. And so a lot of them have been new, but there's been a few that they've had a boat in the past or a utility trailer in the past, and they'll say, oh, I've towed plenty of things. I feel really comfortable with that. And so they'll assure me, and that's fine. But a lot of people are pretty new to it.
So have you ever had any trouble with anybody, like when they take it out and something doesn't work, or you ever had any issues?
Yeah, I have had a number of issues, just one or two here and there. A couple, one was just dealing in the first few rentals, figuring out some of the lights, the electrical hookup. So that's actually when they're in my driveway. And it's a 7-pin connection, but a lot of vehicles only have a 4-pin. Mm-hmm. And so I had to buy adapters, and some adapters, you had to do something with the ground and it wasn't working. And so I've had some stressful moments. In fact, one of them, I just couldn't figure it out. And I just said, I knew where they were going. They were going about an hour away. I said, I'm just going to jump in my car and I'm going to tow it down with you. We're going to deliver it.
Nice.
And so they were great. It was just, again, another great experience where in the end, we got to hug each other. It was just like a bonding experience.
Yeah.
But I have had ones where it's late at night or early in the morning and they've texted or called, and just issues maybe getting the fridge to work on propane, because it's really important for the trailer to be level.
Yeah.
Another one would be where something was running that they didn't realize and the battery's draining and going low. And so having to troubleshoot some of those things. And I'd like to say that every time we had a rental, I learned something new, and so they've only gotten better, and I'm more prepared. So we've purchased I have like 5 different drop and rise hitches, just because when someone pulls up with their vehicle, I don't know how tall it's going to be or how low, and it's important for it to be the ball to be about 16 inches off the pavement.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's a good point.
Yeah, and to spend $15, $20 on a new a 4-inch drop hitch, for me wasn't a big deal, because I'm hoping to continue renting this out and we'll just need it in the future. So along the way, we just kind of got accessories and things that we knew would be better for the renter in the long run.
Well, thank you so much for being a great introductory to RVing in the RV community, because that is wonderful. I don't know a lot of people that would probably do that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
That's first class service driving it down there for them.
Yeah, really. That is amazing.
Oh, I loved it.
Very cool. So I know you talked earlier about like some deposits and things like that. What does Outdoorsy charge, if they charge you anything, and then what do they charge the renter?
So Outdoorsy, basically, when it comes to me, the owner, they take just a portion of what the rental fee is. And so ours rents for, our Tab 320 rents for $89 a night, and they take 20%. So instead of us getting $89, we get about $72 or so. That's on my side, that's all I see, is they take 20%. On the renter side, they'll pay the $89 a night, and then they'll add on the insurance, the different fees that they have to pay. And for our teardrop, it's actually a good, it's a low rate. It's much more expensive for the drivables, the class A's and C's or B's, whatever all those are.
Yeah.
And so I don't know the exact number. I think it depends on some things, but I believe Outdoorsy on the renter side, you have different levels you're able to purchase of insurance based on what you're comfortable with. So I think the cheapest one's called the risk taker. You know, it like covers liability and collision. But
I like the name.
Yeah, but maybe it doesn't include roadside assistance. So if they get a flat tire and they're not sure what to do, they can't call. You know, so there's kind of different levels of coverage that you can purchase when you're booking your reservation. So they charge a little bit on our side, and they're taking in some money for fees on the renter side.
The camper has like a spare up underneath it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's normally underneath it in the back. We moved it up to the tongue. It sits on top of the tongue in the front. But yes, there's a full-size spare. So it's just the two tires, and in our case, luckily we haven't had any flat tires.
But at least they have one. So if they had to do it, they'd have all the stuff that they needed to, or they could maybe call AAA or something like that if they didn't opt for the insurance, you know?
Exactly. And one of the cool things too is because I learned this as renters would ask me, what happens if I have a flat tire? And it's easy for me to send them the instructions that you can, because there's 3 points of contact, you can use the stabilizers even though they're not meant to level the whole thing. Mm-hmm. You can use them in case of a flat and having to change a tire, where if you put the tongue down, crank the wheel down, you can use one of the stabilizers to lift up the wheel, and then you have pretty good access to changing it.
Oh,
very cool.
That is convenient.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah.
Love it. Do you guys plan to extend your fleet? Do you want to get more eventually, or are you kind of stable with just the two now?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. I've really enjoyed it. So I think for us, we're just kind of getting down the road more, seeing if we can pay off our tab. We did pay for it up front when we bought it, but I'm keeping like a budget of how much has come in and how much gone out.
Yeah.
And if we can recoup all the expenses for the tab, I'd definitely open to expanding the fleet. So we've got the 320, which is I think the most popular teardrop version for new camp, but they've also got a smaller one called a tag, and that's one that we are brand new in. We just got about a month ago or a month and a half ago, and I've been refurbishing it, trying to get it brand new again. It's in great shape, but just working on the kitchen and some of the modifications the gentleman had before. And so I'm excited and anxious to see how that one does with rentals and Outdoorsy this season coming up. But I'd love to expand that to get a 400.
Right? Yeah.
That would be
The Tab 400, for everybody, if you don't know, is the big Mack Daddy one that they just came out with. It's got extra room. It's got a dinette in the front and a bed in the back, and it's a little bigger bathroom.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yep.
sweet.
Yeah.
It's nice. They're a little pricey, though.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just waiting for, they came out a couple years ago, and now I'm very big into buying used when you find good deals, because people have already worked out all the kinks, all the things that have gone wrong, and and you can get a much better price. And so those, they're entering the market now and will in the future.
So the tag that you have, it has the traditional teardrop kitchen where it's in the back. But the tab has it on the inside, right? So there is no hatch on the back. Is that correct?
For our Tab 320, that's correct. There are clamshell versions of the Tab 320 where it is in the back.
Okay.
And so some people have those, but yes, the tag is just a bed inside, and then the back opens up to a small kitchen in the back. Yeah.
So the tag is real basic, right? It doesn't even have air conditioning, correct?
Ours does not. Most of them do, but the version we bought does not have air conditioning. We did add the TV that's in there because the owner who bought it anew kind of got it basic, didn't get any of the extras.
Okay.
So we're evaluating if there's going to be a demand for air conditioning being added to it.
And you're considering adding it?
Yeah, I'm looking into it, but I've seen on Outdoorsy, and maybe it's not, I don't know how the demand is out there, but out west, like there's a really popular one in Colorado that's just like ours. There's no air conditioning, and it's been rented a number of times.
Okay.
So we'll just have to see. It's small enough that it has a fantastic fan on the top. You can open the windows and the door, and we also have a USB fan inside. And the gentleman who owned it said even in the desert, he was able to get enough airflow in there. It was very comfortable for him.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see if that plays out true for us.
I was pointing that out to Nicole at the RV show this weekend. We were looking at one, and I said that the neat thing about these is they're so small, and if you have the windows open, you got that fantastic fan running, you can basically create your own 24-hour-a-day breeze.
Exactly. Yep.
So it doesn't work quite as well on larger campers, but when you have something that small, it's just perfect. It creates a nice, perfect breeze, or even if you have the doors open, it creates a nice breeze coming in the doors. And
Yep, absolutely. And that fan is pretty powerful. So for such a small area, you can really push the air through pretty well.
For sure. Do you guys, I know you said you still use your camper sometimes. How often in a season do you guys get to use it now that you're renting?
Yeah, so from the beginning, we haven't used it a lot because it's hard for me when we've had so many reservations back to back to back that I didn't want to block it off. But my son and I did take a trip this past fall, which was really, really good. So we used it, we've used it 3 times in the year and a half we've had it. So not a lot, but I'm kind of entrepreneurial. So there's this side of me that just so enjoys the business side of it. But I also get to tow it around and just work on it and fiddle, which is kind of fun. But I'm hoping that each year we can use it 1 to 2 times.
yeah,
That's cool.
that seems reasonable.
Yeah. You're still getting money out of it
And then
in
you're
that
still
way.
getting money out of it, and you still get it paid off in 3 years, and then you can use it all you want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That sounds beautiful.
Well, now I'm wanting to put a hitch on our Volvo wagon we have because it can tow. And now we have the tag and the tab. We've got our 2 boys. And it's just like, whoa, we could pull both of them and go camping and have a little village.
Yeah.
That would be
I
awesome.
like that.
Yeah, the parents get one, the kids get one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That'd be amazing. What kind of advice would you give to our listeners who are maybe thinking or considering renting out their RVs?
I would say, one is I'd encourage you to go for it. I've only found that people who have rented have wanted to take wonderful care of our camper, and they've made wonderful memories. And so for those of you who are on the fence, or you're worried someone's going to ruin it, my experience has been really positive. And I try not to live and make decisions based on fear. So, and then the other thing would be if you are going to rent it, I would say just put the customer first. Have it be all about them having a great experience, not about making money or having this. That's a benefit on the side. But if someone doesn't have a great experience with it, I don't think it's worth doing.
That's a good life tip that you just said, too, by the way, about the not living in fear. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a good way to live, just period.
True.
I will say on your page, we were looking at the Outdoorsy page, and you have amazing customer service reviews on there. Everyone seems to really feel valued and seems like they've had a good time.
Yeah, they're all 5-star.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been really thankful to have such positive feedback, and we encourage at the end of the rental for people to go on and give a review, which helps give confidence to people who are looking. And I'll say that every one of those reviews too, I was able to review those who rented. So it goes both ways, and I've given them 5 stars and pointed out the benefits of each one and their uniqueness. And so definitely great people.
So have you ever thought about going on Outdoorsy and then renting yourself a Class A?
No, I hasn't crossed my mind yet. But
I think you need to branch out, man. You need to do that.
That's a good point. I think I do need to consider that.
That'd be a good one for the whole family. If you guys go somewhere sometime, you want to take everybody, especially when the kids get a little older.
Yes. It's starting to feel a little bit like a house swap or something.
Right? Yeah.
Is in the works.
Yeah, maybe you could switch with someone.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Very cool.
Okay, well, we're going to move on to our closing segments, and the first segment that we have is Don't Do That. And the Don't Do That segment is a travel mistake that you have made somewhere along the line that our listeners might be able to benefit from so they don't make the same mistake.
Yeah, okay, so the best tip that comes to my mind is not based on a travel mistake I've made, although I've made a number of mistakes, I'm sure. But it's as I'm kind of cleaning up and fixing up this tag camper, I noticed that the stabilizers, they were totally bent. And so what that indicated was the person who was towing it had forgotten to put the stabilizers up before pulling away. And so it caused these stabilizers, the metal, just to bend back. And so just make sure you go through your checklist when you arrive, and then also when you leave, and go in order so that you don't end up with bent stabilizers.
Yeah. Did you have to replace them then?
Yeah, I ordered new ones and put them on, and they look great now.
That's a bummer, man.
Yeah.
That's too bad. They have these things that you can get that you can order online. That's like it's almost like a slap bracelet. You remember those? And you can slap it around your steering wheel, and it'll say, like, they used to have them for like antennas, which they're kind of moving away from antennas. They're going to these permanent ones. But when you used to crank up your antenna, so you'd have one that says antenna, power, the jacks. So you take the little slap bracelets off the steering wheel as you do them. And then if it's not off of there, it reminds you, hey, I got to go back and check that before we leave.
I haven't heard of that. That's cool. That's
so yeah, those are kind of neat. And then I have something I call the Jason walk around, where I basically do a walk around every time I go anywhere. So even if we've traveled somewhere and we've driven somewhere and we stopped for like 5 minutes to get out and go to the bathroom or something, I do a walk around of it. And it can be kind of annoying to people that are traveling with me. Like, let's just go. No, I'm walking around. I'm checking everything. So I check all the lights, the tires, to make sure all the chains are still on. The breakaway cord is still on. So I'm telling you, it'll save you.
Yeah.
Yep, that's good advice.
Yeah.
I could definitely see myself pulling away and
forgetting the jacks.
Yes.
Who else told us that? Somebody else said they did that, didn't they?
Yeah, somebody at the campground, I think.
Who was that? No, somebody was at a beach camping. It was somebody that was on the show. I'll have to think back.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it'll come to me.
That'd be a classic thing to do.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like I need to do a YouTube search of like camper fails, you know?
Right? Yeah.
Yes. Very true.
Okay. The next segment is today's Hidden Gem. And today's Hidden Gem is a place that you have been that's off the beaten path that our listeners might never have heard of. Could be a restaurant, a town, attraction, something like that, somebody could hit when they're on a trip somewhere that they might not go to otherwise.
Yep. So this is for another day, but I love traveling. So my family and I, we've done a lot of traveling internationally, but also in the country. And really, the hidden gem that popped out in my mind is actually my hometown from West Michigan. I grew up in a town called Spring Lake, but right next door is Grand Haven. We live there as well. And Grand Haven in West Michigan is a hidden gem. It's got a wonderful freshwater beach on Lake Michigan. And when we lived in San Diego, California, it was hard to explain to people the beauty of the beach in West Michigan, but it's incredible. There's a boardwalk, lighthouse, it's clean, and there's a state park right on the beach. And so you can camp right there. And but Grand Haven has a great downtown, quaint area. They have a great Coast Guard festival. It's actually Coast Guard City, USA, believe it or not. And so there's a base there, and great festival. So Grand Haven, Michigan, if anyone who goes and visits loves it.
That's nice.
That sounds like my kind of thing.
And that's upper or lower?
It's lower
okay.
peninsula in Michigan. So it's if you were, it's right on Lake Michigan. if you were to be in a major city like Chicago, it'd be 3 hours drive right up kind of just central West Michigan.
Good deal.
Very cool.
That's a good one to check out.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Awesome.
Very cool.
All right, so that wraps us up. So if anybody wants to find more out about you, or maybe where they can find your camper at so they can rent it out, where do they find that at?
Yeah, go to outdoorsy.com. What's really cool, and I don't know if it just happens for me because of my search history, but if you go to Outdoorsy and you search Indianapolis, Indiana, I believe our 320 tab is the first one that pops up.
Nice.
And so you can do that, but specifically there's, I believe in the show notes after the show, there'll be a couple links, specifically one to our owners page where you can see both our tabs and our tab and our tag. But there's also going to be a link to, it's my referral link on Outdoorsy. So if you use that, you'll get a promo. If you sign up in Outdoorsy through that link for the first time, you'll get $50 off your first rental, any rental on Outdoorsy. That's $200 or more. So that'll also give me a little referral bonus too as an owner. And then the last place people can find me, it branches off into more of my international love of travel, but Instagram, my handle is Mike's Going Places. Nice. And so I chronicle our trips we take, and we're in a couple months going to be in Brazil and in Argentina as a family. So we'll be posting photos on there, and you can find us.
Nice. That's going to be a good trip.
Yeah.
I'll have to have you back on to talk about that.
I'd love to. It's going to be so cool. And I'll tell you, this is my little nerdy side, but my goal with international travel, it's my little bucket list, is to get to the 7 wonders of the world. And we will hit our 6th on this trip with 1 left to go.
Nice.
Wow.
So which ones have you hit and which one are you still missing?
Yeah. So we've hit the Colosseum in Rome. We've been to Petra in Jordan. We've been to Machu Picchu in Peru. Chichen Itza in Mexico.
Mexico, yeah.
Yep. And then the Great Wall of China. Just went there this past fall.
Wow.
And then Christ the Redeemer, the statue in Rio de Janeiro. That's where we're going in March. And the one left on the list is going to be the Taj Mahal in India.
That is super cool.
That's awesome.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother episode.
Yep. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Then you'll have to come up with a new list.
That's right.
Yeah, what will be next? You don't know what you'll do you?
No, I'm not sure. I mean, I want to go everywhere, so
sure.
I'm sure we'll have plenty.
That'll be time for the Class A.
Yeah.
You can go take that Class A out.
Yeah. You can do all the national parks. That's one of my lists.
Yeah,
that'd be a good one too. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Awesome.
Mike, that wraps us up. We really appreciate you coming on. Lots of good information. Lots of good information for people that want to rent and for people that might want to rent out their campers. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't just have to be something that you pay for every month. It can be something that you can make money with and offset the cost of owning the camper. So you can own the camper lower cost or maybe even free.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
That's the hope.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a blast to talk with you.
All right, everybody. That was Mike Morgan. That was pretty cool, wasn't it?
That was wonderful.
It makes me want to get a camper to rent.
Yeah.
Or I guess maybe I could rent mine out, but
I don't know about that.
Scares me a little bit.
I don't know. He seemed like he had a really good experience with it, though.
He said his went really well, so that made me feel a little better about it. I will say that.
Yeah, if any of you guys out there rent out your camper as well.
If you have experience with it, for sure, please let us know.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some more stories.
Because I would love to, I'd love to hear everybody's experience. Love to hear the good, the bad, the ugly, all the above.
For sure. I thought it was so interesting, too, that this was his first camper.
Yeah.
You know, like...
I was a little surprised by that, too. I didn't realize that.
What a risk taker.
Yeah, risky adventure, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the principle, though. You know, after 3 years, you got a camper that's paid off. It's all yours. And
yep.
I mean, it's really not a bad gig.
The other thing I love, too, is I want to try out... Like, it gives you the opportunity to try out different campers that you may never have gotten to try before.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys haven't looked around on Outdoorsy has pretty much everything. So you can find big, giant Class A's all the way down to little tiny tags that, like Mike has.
Yeah. So you can try everything.
You can try them all out, before you venture out in the world
or before you buy one.
See what you want to buy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
And I also encourage you, if you are looking at a camper, maybe try one out, or at the very least, go check out all the different RV shows and go talk to people at the RV show. So if you are in a situation where you think about buying one, try one out or talk to everybody there. There a lot of people there are trying out second, third, and fourth campers. So you could really get a lot of knowledge out of people that are there. Don't talk to the salespeople because they're just going to try to sell you something.
Well, and that's what else I like about renting it is you learn what really goes into it.
Yeah.
Like what hooking it up looks like, what leveling it out looks like.
Hey, you can see if it's up your alley.
Yeah. What emptying the tanks is like.
But I always hear that people say, I don't stay anywhere that doesn't put a mint on my pillow. So they have no interest in, staying in a camper. So, because it'd be too much work. They want to have that nice little hotel experience. And, if you think you're into the camper thing, try it out. And you might find that you are a hotel person, or you might find that you love the camper experience, which I think a lot of people do.
Yep. Yeah. And thanks to Mike for introducing people in such a positive way.
Yeah, I'm glad he really takes care of everybody.
Yeah.
So, and then we're going to put Mike's links in the show notes. If you want to go contact Mike or try out one of his campers, feel free.
Yeah. All right.
That's all we got right now. We'll see you next week.